operation in the last stages, the last trimester. Okay? Your spirit is what you bring in your conscious mind. I said that's what's between conscious and subconscious. Subconscious, tape recorder. Learn a program, do it automatically. Matter of fact, I said 95% of most people's lives is actually just a play out of their tape recorded programs with very little creativity from their consciousness. But their consciousness is altered by their previous life experiences, so it directs your consciousness to seek different things in the world in relation to what you came in with. So
yes.
I bring that in as a very important part of it, but the first part is basically just programming the subconscious mind. And it's very interesting because the nature that the programming occurs in the first 6 years, and once the program's in the subconscious mind, that 95% of your life comes from that, so you become the subconscious program. It's not a new fact. For 500 years, the Jesuits have boasted. They say, give me a child until it's 6, and it will belong to the church for the rest of its life. What were they talking about? They knew then, if I can get the first 6 years of programming and put those fundamental programs in your subconscious, I don't care what your conscious wishes and desires are, you will inevitably become your subconscious program. So they already knew that. Now, why is this important? Because I'm telling you, so we got programmed in the first 6 years. And then you say, but my consciousness, which according to, if you understand, as the biology belief reveals, is a neurological EEG, electromagnetic function that really becomes a predominant brain state after 6. So before 6, you're really not in a state of consciousness. You're actually in a hypnagogic trance, theta. Vibrational frequency theta of the brain is hypnosis. So that's how you download all these behaviors, by just observing them and downloading them. Boom, boom, boom. So now you say, well, heck, I wasn't consciously even there with all these programs. How the heck do I know what's in my subconscious? You say, oh, I'll go to a psychologist. And I go, don't do that. It's not necessary. It's
I call it the long road to China.
Absolutely, and it's pretty destructive in many cases because you have to now relive each one of those painful experiences, which is just like pushing the button every time you have to relive it. That's
exactly.
Why boxes of tissues get used. You say, well, wait, then how do I know what my subconscious programs are? And this is the simple and joyful part. Since your life is 95% a printout of your subconscious, your life is your subconscious. Point, the things that work for you and come easily into your life, they come easily because you have programs in your subconscious that encourage that. In contrast, anything you struggle with, anything you have to put a lot of effort in, anything you have to work hard to achieve, that extra effort, that extra work is going in because basically you already have an existing program that doesn't support where you want to go. So your extra work is to try to overcome the program, which is frequently very difficult. So more or less it's associated with a lot of work, but not a lot of conclusion.
Are you giving us a way out? Because I'm feeling jailed in the subconscious. Now, I will say one thing.
Okay, so now you look at your life and you say, okay, these things I have, great, they're wonderful, I love them, great. I don't need to change subconscious. Oh, this part of my life, I'm struggling. Okay, now I say, okay, now you know what the issue is. It's you're not being supported by whatever that destination you're looking for. So now the best part is you already have an insight as to what programs you need to change. What is it I need to change the subconscious? Because I start to find that these are the trouble points. So it means you don't have to go back and find out who did what to who, your mom did this, your dad did that, your best friend undermined you, blah, blah, blah. Those are stories that are irrelevant. What is the net result? The answer is you're living it. So now that you're living it, you want to change some of those. I say, can you change them? And the answer is, well, boy, if I didn't, I know you'd hang up in a second. Why would I want to hear that now? But, of course, I want to offer you the wonderful story. Of course, you can change anything, but you have to know how to change it. And this is where then everything falls apart. And then it falls apart in this reason. Number one, there's almost a general consensus belief that if your conscious mind becomes aware of something, then your subconscious mind shall now know it as well. And it turns out, first big mistake, absolutely not true at all. The two minds learn in different ways. The conscious mind can learn in one way, and it will have no impact on the subconscious mind at all because the subconscious mind doesn't learn that way. So, for example, the conscious mind is the creative mind. That's the one that could read the self-help book, So I read the self-help book, and I go, oh, look, there's new insight, there's new awareness. I've just educated my consciousness. Wow, this would be great to live this life. This would be so wonderful. And you read the book. I give you a test just to be assured that you learned it. And you got 100 on the test. You knew all the principles. And then I say, Well, now that you've read the book, you know all the principles. Has your life changed? The answer is no. I say, okay, you go to the lecture, same thing. Oh, my God, I learned all this wonderful information. My conscious mind's just been educated by all of this stuff I just went to. And I said, now you got all this awareness. Did your life change? No. And the reason is this. The conscious mind, being creative, can learn by reading a book, going to the lecture, reviewing a history, whatever. The conscious mind becomes aware. I say, well, how come the subconscious mind doesn't pick it up? And I say, because it doesn't learn that way. How does the subconscious mind learn? Well, there are two fundamental ways and a new way that's really interesting. So let me say the two fundamental ways. I go, how did it learn in the history of programming your subconscious mind? Well, I say the first part of programming my subconscious mind because my brain was in a state of hypnosis. I go, okay, that's one. You want to train the subconscious mind, then you have to do a state of self-hypnosis, like subliminal tapes and stuff like that, which are very effective at doing that. I say, so, or see a hypnotherapist of some kind. Okay, that's one way of doing it. I say, okay, that was the first 6 years of my life. My subconscious learned by being in a theta state, which is just downloading through hypnosis, and that's how I got the program. If I get back into that theta state, I can download new programs on top of the old programs. I can rewrite that. That's cool. I say, okay, after 6, how did the subconscious mind learn? I go, after 6, it learned totally by habit and repetition. Repetition, over and over again. How'd you learn ABCD? You had to say it until you were blue in the face. Every day you get a little further than you did the day before, and you get further and further, and finally you get to Z. Now that you've done it, do you have to repeat this again to learn the ABCs? No, you already got them. Oh, how did I get them? Every day I had to do it. Every day I repeated it. It turns out that creating a habit by repetition is the next fundamental mechanism of programming your life. So basically it says you want to change something, then you have to create a new habit and repeat it religiously as repetition and in a period of time.
Now, is this also in the thought realm? Is it writing? Is it speaking something?
Every way you put it in is another. It's like the more ways you put it in, the more profoundly the impact will be. Okay, the more profound impact. Every different way, visually, auditory, kinesthetically, every different input that takes the same message and puts it in expands the ability to get that information downloaded. So that's very critical. Multiple inputs, same way.
Are there some programs that you might want to share with us that you realized that you had through your own programming from 0 to 6 that you got in touch with?
Yeah. I'll tell you one right away. Number one was I tried to write the biology of belief for 15 years before I got it out. And what happened for 15 years? Well, I'd start the book. I actually got 3 different starts, 3 different ways of going about it, got halfway through each one, and then it petered out. And I could never figure out what the hell's the story here. Why am I having so much trouble? When I did an assessment, which was a muscle testing assessment of my subconscious, I realized I had a belief that I already knew, but I didn't realize that was the cause, and that is my career was based on my being validated by my colleagues. Okay? That's how you become a scientist and all that stuff. And what my subconscious recognized that by writing the book that I was writing, which was totally antagonistic to all my colleagues and peers, that I would lose my reputation and validation as a scientist. And so my subconscious was very helpful by every time I started getting a book done, sabotage, the whole thing would stop. I couldn't write the book anymore because It was protecting me. Okay, that was a big one. Another one that was real exciting because it profoundly changed my life was when I owned the nature of spirituality, which I didn't own as a scientist, but then saw through the nature of understanding the cells. I had a great epiphany at that moment, and the epiphany was I asked myself, in my scientific rational mind, now that I bought into, oh my God, there's a spirit because I saw a mechanism of how that would work, and then I owned it because I was like 2 + 2 is 4. The science I saw said, oh my God, these are antennas pulling in an identity from outside. I asked myself a really profound question to myself. I said, well, my God, I never believed in spirituality. Now I see that there's a spiritual source. Then I said, but wait, why have a spirit and a body? and I questioned